Yo, what's good, YouTube? What's good? It's Stormybman, and I am back. Welcoming you to Answering the Bell with Stormybman, our Sunday morning call-in. This is number 25 for this Sunday, January 30th, 2022. Glad to be back with you and glad to have you back with me as we do our Sunday morning call-in and we talk a little bit about boxing. Bit about things other than boxing, but it's primarily a boxing call-in show, and we're here to close out the month of January as we begin to go into Black History Month, February. So expect some good things in the month of February for the Stormybman channel, and we're going to have some good fights coming up in the month of February. It seems like we're going to pick up where 2021 ended off with that last quarter of the year, stringing us along with bout after bout almost each weekend. So get ready, tighten your seatbelts for the ride, and we will be on our way. Want to start off with welcoming with the roll call of people that's in the chat already early this morning. Have to remind everybody to please smash the like button when you come in. If you don't do anything else and you are a part of the Stormybman chat, you should be smashing the like button. If you like the content, you should be smashing the like button. It tweaks the algorithms so that the channel, the content, gets favorable positioning when people search the engine for boxing content. So you do your part, I do my part, we do our part, and we'll make this a very pleasant experience. We got Kings_Jr. out there saying salute Stormybman in chat. Jose Diaz is back with us saying salute Stormybman in chat. Ratchet since 91 says salute. Boxing and Barbecue says, morning, Stormy. Salute to you. Jose Diaz says, salute, Stormybman. My father and myself watched the movie about Bolo and O'Hara when they go to the island and the guy that runs the island has a fake hand that he switches it. He was happy. Listen, man. Jose Diaz. Now, you know, you family. And every once in a while, someone in family gots to be corrected. Gots to be. Huh? So you as wrong as two left shoes when you come in here on the Stormybman channel. Huh? And you start talking about a movie about Bolo and O'Hara when they go to an island and the guy that runs the island has a fake hand. Man, if you don't sit the hell down fast on a boxer open tax, huh? F plus, because the movie is Enter the Dragon, my brother. And it's a Bruce Lee film, huh? Yeah. You know, the one that people talk about, got posters of him on their wall and everything. And every time they show a photograph from him, it's from the movie Enter the Dragon primarily. So, if you ruined your dad's experience of watching this movie about Bolo and O'Hara, leaving out the most important entity of why the movie was made in the first place. The title came about by way of him telling Warner Brothers Studios when they were filming the movie, and it was called Blood and Steel, according to the script. He felt that this was going to be his big film that would introduce him to the world. So he said that he thought the title Enter the Dragon would be more appropriate because it was introducing him to the world, because his Chinese nickname was Lei Shulong, which means the little dragon. So enter the dragon to the world. August 1973. He died before the film was released, July 20th, 1973. So you out here spreading misinformation, and it is not acceptable on the Stormybman channel. So go sit to the back of the class, shut up, and listen and learn. You got that, Jose Diaz? Next time, come correct. If you think you're going to talk about Kung Fu in my chat, you got that? You better. King Vonnie 86 is out there, says, peace, Stormy B Man in chat. Boxing and Barbecue says, man, you come straight out of a comic book. Suddenly, according to script, I would like to leave your island. See, you got to have it right when you come in here, because I'm going to set you right. And yeah, you might get a little mad. Toes curled up, fists balled up, but you better keep them in your pocket, because I got toes and fists too. And a few other things. Like facts. Dwayne Jones says, bless up from the mighty ATL. Andrew Charles is out there. Stormy B-Man. Alvin Davis is back saying, salute Sensei in chat. Mr. Pac-Man 216, salute Big Dog. 88 Sports Talk says, salute family. King Vonnie says, enter the dragon. He's reiterating. 88 Sports Talk is laughing. Jose Diaz says, okay. Oh, man. Mr. Pac-Man 216 says, Jim Kelly, John Saxon, Bolo. But ain't nobody said Bruce yet. Yeah, that's interesting. Cooking with Sir is back, and he says facts, and he knows, because he knows Bruce Lee. Jellybean 4280 says, salute. Jose Diaz says, wow, okay, my bad. We have hundreds of those movies. Sorry, I won't ever bring another Kung Fu movie ever again. I won't bring anything about Kung Fu. It's your channel. I understand. It's not about me, it's being my channel. It's about getting correct information out there. Isn't it, Cooking with Sir? Because this is the internet. A lot of times people will talk that talk, but they can't walk the walk, and they haven't even studied the page. Yeah. Most of the experiences come through other sources and people. I've lived it. I've digested it. I bleed it, and I love it. So I'll correct you. Boxing and Barbecue says, laugh out loud. Stormy takes his Kung Fu serious. Jose Diaz says, I'm out. You got it. Don't get mad. See, that's what's wrong with you guys of today. Soft feelings, I've taught boxing, trained fighters in the gym. When you're trying to assist someone with becoming a man, there's no time to powder your ass and pamper you, You have to pull yourself up by your bootstraps. Show some tougher skin, son. I can be corrected. You can be corrected. Anyone can be corrected. But if the facts come through the pipeline, all that's important is that I'm properly directed. You see what I'm saying? There's lesson in everything in life. I talk about this all the time. Boxing, real life. There are things that can be paralleled and compared and made analogies of because it's an all-inclusive experience. I've been corrected many a time in life and won't deny the fact that I'll be corrected many a time again before I leave this place. I ain't gonna get mad. I ain't gonna stomp off with my lips stuck out and go somewhere with my arms folded like somebody done stole my bike on the street or something. Yeah. But Boxing and Barbecue said it best. He says, Stormy takes his kung fu serious. Yes, I do. Sir found that out yesterday as well. You know? Because the one thing I'm not going to do is I'm not going to come on here over this microphone, over this channel, and talk BS to you. Huh? There's always a grain to be found right here on the Stormybman channel. Always. And if I have to correct somebody, I will. And if someone has to correct me, they should. But I ain't called the sensei for nothing. You understand? That was not a name bestowed as a gimmick. The waters have been tested. They are solid. They are true. And they flow. Welcome to Answering the Bell with Stormybman, our Sunday morning call-in show. Today, we'll open the lines up early, let people call in, speak their piece on the sport of boxing. If you got something to say about some kung fu films, I ain't got no problem with that either. As a lot of you young brothers and sisters say out there today, let's get it. Yeah. Let's get it. King Vonnie 86 is out there saying, it's all love, bro. Yes, it is. Remember, if there's no love in what you're doing, you may as well not be doing it. Unscripted Virtuoso says, salute Stormybman Sensei in the chat. Boxing and Barbecue says, Stormy, you can beat me in boxing knowledge, you can beat me in kung fu, but you know what you won't beat me in? Eating. But I'll give you a go, because Stormy V-Man like to eat. I'll give you a go, bro. I don't have to win in that. All I have to get is fun and full. You know, that's it. That's what that's all about. MPWTF is in the building saying salute, Sensei. And chat family, salute to you. Yeah. See, big homie Coop ain't out there right now, but he tell you, he say class is in session, so pay attention. He always says that when he comes in. And there's a reason for that. Because you show up in class and you ain't prepared, shouldn't the professor put you in your place? Huh? How you gonna get better? How you gonna overcome? How you gonna persevere? If you're not told, wrong, try again. Huh? That very movie that you watched, Jose Diaz. Didn't Bruce Lee tell that student that at the beginning? Kick me. He kicked the first time. He said, what was that? An exhibition? We need more emotional content. Try again. He did it again. Still did it incorrectly. He said, I said emotional content. Try again with meaning. Then he tried. He's like, okay. How did it feel? And the student said, let me think. He slapped him upside the head. Don't think. Feel. It is like a finger pointing the way to the moon. He's looking at him. Looking where the finger's pointing. Don't concentrate on the finger or you'll miss all the heavenly glory. Slapped him on the head again. Then the final slap on the head came when they were bowing to leave one another's presence. Never take your eye off your opponent, even when you bow. Keep your head on the swivel, y'all say today. That was in 1973. So you get mad at me, you get mad at Bruce, because I'm only passing on the principles, huh? Yeah. You can get mad, get angry. You'll get over it. Get better. Get better. That's what you got to do. Mr. Pass says, Sensei, did you like the Canseco fight yesterday? I had Canseco winning 8-2. Yeah, pretty much. That was what I had, Mr. Pass. Pretty much exactly what I had. Boxing and Barbecue says, laugh out loud. I'm making chili dogs for breakfast right now. Try diet starts next month. Okay. My diet starts next month. Mr. Pass says, Sensei, do you remember the Bruce Lee versus Norris fight in the Coliseum? They fought as soon as the cat jumped away. Excellent cinematography. King Vonnie says, a classic. Yeah, man. Absolutely, man. Absolutely. But yeah. I was telling Sir yesterday that, I know quite a bit about Bruce Lee, man. I ate, drank, and slept that guy when I was a young boy growing up and taking in all the information that there was available about him. I only speak on him on the surface, but I've yet to do a review of his films or whatever because I know the guy inside and out like my sleeve. And with some information that recently came down the pipe last year, in the year of 2021, that actually closed the gaps of things that had been said and mysteries that were unresolved, I am now complete with my thoughts of who he was as a person, as an entertainer, as a martial artist, and I also have a clearer understanding why he's no longer around. So I'm good on that regarding Bruce Lee. Very good. Some people are still delusional, but I recognize that we are human beings. We are fallible. We are mortal. Unscripted Virtuoso says, smack. Yep. King Vonnie says, be water, my friend. Bruce Lee. Miami the Prince says, salute Stormy B-Man in chat. Salute. Devin Blocker has come. He says, salute. Stormy B-Man. Bruce Lee was a gangster. Yeah. Mark Stearns is in the building. Says, salute to the king, Stormy B-Man and family. Salute to you as well. But we got those lines open, people. Feel free to call in. It says we got about 29 people in here. We got 29 thumbs up. Let's get some calls in. I want to hear what you got to say this morning. Whether it's about the fights last night, the fights that are coming up next week. We've got some good things happening in the sport of boxing. Oh, by the way, Valdez still ain't signed no contract. Think he's cycling off his tee? We will soon see. Yes, sir. Nobody wants to call in. Where K-Rod at? K-Rod usually is the man that want to break the ice with the phone calls. It's interesting that Boxing and Barbecue talked about chili dogs because, that's what I'm having for lunch. Chili dogs. So, great minds think alike. Great minds think alike. Ratchet since 91 says that's exactly what he's doing. Cooking with Sir says the forbidden fruit probably still in his system. Yeah. Come on, guys, call on in. It's like, listen, you come here to just mill about in the chat. You don't come to have a conversation. Devin Blocker says if he ran from 126 from Shakur, I don't think he'll fight him at 130. Well, it's not really up to him. If Bob tell him you got to fight him, he got to fight him. But Bob is only making this play right now because of the lawsuit. If they can stall, they might be able to get away to a certain point and then the fight don't happen. And that'll be more along the lines of how they want to do business anyway. They don't really want to put Valdez in with Shakur Stevenson. They don't. Mark Stearns is saluting everybody. Copper Aborigines is in the house. He says, salute Stormy B-Man, the professor. Salute to you. Devin says, facts. Calvin Johnson says, salute. Salute kings and queens. The OG Stormy B-Man, the sensei. Good morning, y'all. Good morning to you, Calvin Johnson. Welcome to the show. But I want to talk about that Consecal fight last night a little bit. You know, that was a fight that basically showed us something that is usually very revealing going in. It was a great contrast of styles. Xavier Martinez being the fighter who When his feet are planted, he can throw power shots, hooks, uppercuts. Consequao is the type of fighter who has good lateral movement, good legs altogether. Oh, here we go. Let's see here. What we got here? Okay, we got 773 in the building. Who's calling? What's on your mind? Welcome to the show. Fell off. Salute to OG Kush King Pudge out there in that super chat. Says much love and appreciation. Salute, Sensei. Salute to you. Salute to you. And thank you for your super chat donation, man. Appreciate you, bro. We got Opulent LD in the building saying peace, OG Stormy. Peace to you. He says listening in. Copper says, no, they don't want Shakur fighting Valdez at all. We all know why. Ain't no secret that Valdez loses, knocked out or not. Yes, sir. 100. See, they're stalling it now. You see how fast they go ahead and make the fight between Fury and White? They can make these fights when they want to. They can make these fights when they want to. Okay, we got 773. Welcome to the show. How may I help you there?
Stormybman, Dr. Mark Stearns. How you doing, brother?
Hey, Dr. Stearns. Welcome to the show, man. How you doing?
I'm doing great, man. Listen, I'm a little hoarse today. I went and played bid whist last night and got with some family and so forth. But I said I'm calling in anyway because hey, I love your show. Listen, I'm from Chicago too, so you know we real family.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And you sound just fine. So even if you feel like you're hoarse, you're coming through loud and clear.
Okay, great. Listen, I did not see the fights last night, but I did want to make a comment on the fight we have coming up on February 5th, which is, who used to be really my man. I mean, I used to rock with Keith Thurman because back in the day when he was back in our day, he was a beast, and he fought. Well, it appeared that he was fighting everyone until my brother from Texas, Earl Spence, came on the scene, and then all of a sudden he became Keith the Ducker.
Yeah.
But I wanted to make a comment about his fight coming up. Mm-hmm. He should, in my opinion, and I think in everybody that is truly a boxing fan, in my opinion, he should win this fight. If he doesn't win this fight, in my opinion, it's over for him. I mean, this is it. If he doesn't come in and look impressive and really beat the brakes off this boy now, but he's not. Barrios is stepping up, and I admire him because he's coming to fight. And if Keith is not on his game, he's going to get beat up. So, I guess this is really Keith's last hurrah. Either you make, even if he makes a statement, in my opinion, there's still going to be some question marks because he's beating a guy that just got knocked out by Tank.
Right.
And Tank is a beast. And he picked the right guy, because if he had picked Tank, I don't think he wants to test that one, because Tank could knock him out, and if Tank did knock him out, it would absolutely be over for him. So I just wanted to call in because, brother, I got mad respect for you, man. I think you are just a phenomenal teacher, a phenomenal man. I'm always watching. I got a lot of business stuff going on, but when I'm not doing that, I'm always tuning in. Even when I don't respond, I'm always listening. I always listen to the replays. You're the man. I love you, bruh. I hope one day that we can get together over coffee, lunch, dinner, anything here in Chicago, because I love to meet you personally. But I just wanted to call in and get this party started. Love you, bro. Keep doing your thing, and I'm gonna go back to the chat.
And before you go, let me just say a couple things. First of all, thank you for those sentiments about me and what I'm doing here. You can always hit me up in my Gmail,
Okay.
and then we can correspond from there.
Now, what is that? Stormybman at Gmail?
Yes, sir.
Okay, great.
And you can hit me up there. But to just speak on Thurman a bit before I let you go.
Okay.
The interesting thing about Thurman is when he was chasing the titles and he was on the come up, he was, approaching the sport the way that you would like to see championship caliber fighters approach the sport.
Absolutely.
I think what happened with Keith, and it happens to a lot of them, it's happened to the Charlos, it really is something to be explained in a more lengthy type of presentation, but to cut it short is when these men who came from poor backgrounds began to earn the type of economic salaries that will put them in a more favorable position in life, what that means is that they have to find personal challenges and aspirations and goals that will keep them interested and engaged in trying to be as successful as they can. It's like a cat that's full and fat laying across the floor, and then here comes a mouse that runs across the floor, and the fat cat just looks, right? Because he's fat and he's full. So
right.
It's the same type of analogy when you put these men together. It's like they wanted to always buy their mama a house or a car or both. They always wanted to have a nice place for themselves and be able to wear the nicest of things according to what their situations are. You know what I'm saying? And once they achieve that, life stops.
Man,
when Keith Thurman saw Earl Spence, he saw in Spence what was in him when Spence was coming up doing what he's doing. But Earl is like, because Keith is like, he's looking at him, and you know that Keith is a very intelligent man, because when he's asked questions about boxing, he always gives you gems. He knows the sport. He knows about fighters. So it's like he's very intelligent. So when he's looking at Earl Spence, he's looking at himself when he was hungry. Okay?
Right.
And so now he began to play defense and say, well, that kid is like who I was, but I want to hold on to what I have as long as I can. And when you start to think like that, you're pretty much stepping with one foot on out of the sport now because you've achieved what you've wanted. You see? That's why he grossly miscalculated Manny Pacquiao. Now, if Keith Thurman, the analyst, looked at Pacquiao and himself, he would have saw Pacquiao as a very much threat against him because of where he was. He had gotten a little softer. He was inactive. He wasn't on his game as much. And so Pacquiao still being a threat and having fought better fighters than Keith has fought, it would make a closer fight between he and Keith. And this is Keith the analyst breaking this down, right? But guess what? Keith the analyst never appeared in the whole circumstances revolving Pacquiao. It was Keith, the money hunting guy. He's looking for the dollars. He's looking for the big payday. That's what he was looking for. He set his shots. He set his sights very low when it came to looking at Manny Pacquiao. Whereas you take a guy like Bud Crawford, who always wanted Manny Pacquiao, he was looking at Manny Pacquiao for the legacy.
Yes.
He wasn't chasing the money. He wanted the legacy of fighting Pacquiao because he knew, with everyone questioning his position and stuff like that, if I beat that guy, I take something off of him and put it on me now because I've valued my resume even more. You see what I'm saying?
And you know what? That is an absolute perfect breakdown of the mentality and the process that fighters go through. That let me share something else with you, just real quickly. That is brilliant. Number one, that is absolutely a brilliant breakdown and a very astute analysis of the process that many fighters go through when that dog starts diminishing in them. Because that's really what you said, and that's what happened with Keith. The dog wasn't quite as hungry anymore. Mm-hmm. It made a miscalculation because, as you said about Bud knew this with all the criticism that he gets, and rightfully so, because going to Top Rank was a bad move. Even though I understand a part of some of the financial dangling that they did with him, I don't believe that Bomac is in his corner. I believe that Bomac was in his corner. I believe that Bomac got corrupted through the Bob Arum experience, and absolutely. I believe they dangled something at him, and he's been the reason why Bud has stayed so stupid in the sport, is my opinion. But what you said is so profound, and I'm going to say this. I have a matter of fact, I'm starting a podcast. It's called Flawless Mentality and Black Excellence, hosted by Dr. Mark Stearns. That it's not up yet, but it's coming. But what I want to say to you publicly, you have a brilliant mind. And one of the things that I'm doing in the Chicagoland area that you're going to hear about anyway, I would love to have time to sit down and talk with you about, is I have a training discipline, and it is called Flawless Mentality and for Absolute Authority. It's one of the strongest training disciplines, mindset disciplines in America. I need you because I need team members that think the way you think. The way that you break things down is absolutely brilliant. Your mind, God made you like that. That's who you are. I need you. So we, off the show, we need to have a conversation because I'm doing some things and I pay my people well. I mean, we will be partners. We will not be. You won't work for me. We'll be partners. I just need to talk with you though, because I love how you think. I always have, and this is just an opportunity for me to make that that point to you. So, love you, brother,
that,
man.
brother.
This is
just like I said, you hit me up. I'll be more than willing to help and assist in any way I can, because it's important. I was just having a conversation yesterday with a couple of brothers from the community about the fact that there are so many things that need to be taken care of, but you have to have a starting point. And even when you have the starting point, everybody that set out is not going to make it. You know what
You're
I mean?
right.
But you have to
You're
take
right.
the strongest, the most resolute, the most that has that initiative, the aspiration to go, and you take that and you work with what you have, and you are guaranteed to have some success. But
well, what I've always heard you say on your show, which was one of the when I first found you, and I found you through the LDBC, who I 1,000% rock with. I like what they put together. I like what they're about, and I've always followed it. And I found you through them, and the key is this: people don't understand that gratitude is at the foundation of everything. Love, respect, all of it. But people don't care how much you know until they know how much you care. And when you really care, it'll come out in what do you do, and you'll find other people that, you can only save folks that want to be saved. But it's our responsibility to reach out to those that have an interest in trying to do better, because you don't know better till you do better. Hey, love you, bro, man, and I'm gonna fall back into the chat, but I'm definitely gonna email you today.
Okay, sounds good, and I appreciate.
All right, my brother.
Thank you, and don't be a stranger.
Yes, sir.
Call back.
I will always. I will definitely.
All right. Peace to you. All right, it's Dr. Stearns calling in. First call of the day. Great call, and appreciate that. Ooh, let's see. Yeah, this is what it is. Before his call, I was saying something about the Canseco fight. I know that Martinez was looking forward to being able to just plant and deliver his shots. I don't think he really banked on Canseco being as a mobile and athletic as he was, because in the fight against Valdez, he seemingly was engaging a lot more. But that was because of Valdez's limitations. It wasn't so much because of Canseco being limited. And when he found out that he wasn't going to be able to compete and keep up in that athletic manner, he basically switched to it's not a survival mode, but just to, stay safe to the end of the fight. At no point did Martinez ever break system and say, I'm got to go for it. I got to go and get this guy. I got to get him out of there. He just kind of stayed consistent round after round, and you're not winning rounds. It was like someone said earlier in the chat, they had him losing, 8 rounds to 2. I basically had it 9 rounds to 1. I think that I only gave Martinez 1 round. Let me double check my scorecard here. Yeah, maybe 1 round out of 10. And that's very bad. Very bad. He's going to have to make a decision. Otherwise, as I said on my post-fight show last night, he's going to become Danny Garcia 2.0. He will only stand there and act tough and give the impression that he's solid and he's there. He's going to be a man, but he ain't going to try to beat you. And that's unfortunate, because this is a sport where you can really get hurt. And if you're not prepared to take risks and get out there and try to put some hurt on the opponent, they're going to do it to you. And you're going to find yourself on the losing end a lot. There are sharks in this sport, and they will devour head and foot. You understand? And you have to understand that if you're going to be in this sport, you have to be prepared to do those things as well. Otherwise, you just become food. You know, but I would like to see Kanseki. I'll get a second shot against Valdez. I felt he beat him the first time, but I think in the second fight he'll try to knock him out. And with all the foolishness that they pulled going into that first fight between them, to have an opportunity for a second go round, I think his whole mindset will be a little bit different. We got people out here, man. More have come into the building. We got Sylvester out there. He says, Stormy, what's popping? Unscripted is out there. Anwar Willis is out there saying salute. Woke the Truth is out there saying salute, family. Benjamin Harrington says salute, Stormy B, man. Bowley Bowley's out there saying Keith the Capitalist. Yeah. Yes, sir. Huh? You're going to be a banker. Let's see. Thrill Hill is out there saying salute, Stormy B. And Michael Johnson, Boxing Talking More, is out there saying, what it do? What it is with you is well, brother. Good to see you, Michael Johnson. 704 Joe is out there saying, Sensei, my iron feet style is excellent. This guy. 704 Joe. What else we got going? Hey, the phone lines are still open, man. Don't be a stranger. We only had one call so far from Dr. Stearns, so you guys call on in, man. Let's have a discussion. Yeah? Don't leave me up here by myself. I need a dance partner. Stop mulling about. Let's go. Let's go. And by the way, where is Big Homie Coop? I ain't seen him in a couple of streams. He's usually around. Hope he's all right. We got 40 people watching, but don't nobody want to call in to the call-in show. Seriously. All right, 518. I think that's my man K-Rod. What's good with you?
Hey, what's up, Stormy?
What's good with you, bro?
Not much. I just got back home yesterday from Florida, visiting family. So just figured I'd tune in and chop it up with you.
Yeah. What's on your mind? What you want to chat about?
Yeah, like I wanted to talk about some of those fights that were on the card yesterday. Wanted to get your thoughts on Stephan Big Shot Shaw. Yeah.
Well, I'm glad you asking me, K-Rod, because I wasn't going to offer it up. I want to be asked, because when you ask me, then I have to speak sincerely. And I thank you for doing it, because let me tell you something, man. I'm not impressed. I know all these people out here been talking about that young man, but I've seen a ton of boxing in my life. He ain't what y'all think he is. He ain't. And last night was an opportunity for him to take the garbage out. And he didn't. He kept it in the house by the back door, stinking up the kitchen. When will people stop looking through rose-colored lenses just because you know somebody, or because he's from your hometown, or you grew up with him, huh? Or he kicked your butt a few times in the gym? that don't mean because he broke some eggs, he know how to make an omelet. He had the size, the reach, the skills over that kid last night. And he did not do what he was supposed to do. Simple as that. And the worst part about it is this. If Joey were in better shape, he would have put up a better fight. Now, does that mean that Shaw would have put up a better fight because Joey was in better shape? No. He didn't take advantage of the advantages he had. You see? And the worst part about that is the guy was on a short notice. It reminds me a lot, and I said this on my post-fight show last night. It reminds me a lot of Coffee. Huh? People thought he was going to be something because he's strong. He got a nice, mean mug. Huh? He can hit hard. Man, there have been the most feather-fisted of guys in boxing whooping people's ass. Didn't have a hard punch, but they had skills. They had smarts. They had ring IQ. They had good defense. Huh? And they give these guys, they anoint them without them accomplishing anything. That guy gets murdered by Jarrett Big Baby Anderson right now. Gets murdered. And they're right there along in the same number of fights and everything. I know Shaw is a little older. But come on, man. Come on. When you swimming in a small pool, you can be a big fish. But you go out there into the ocean and you find that there are even greater predators than you've been, sharing the waters with. Pull back on that guy, I'm telling you. Pull back. Ask more of him. Because the sport is going to do so. And there's going to be a lot of unhappy people.
Yeah. I just figured I'd ask about him because,
What were your thoughts? What were your thoughts of him, K-Rod? Just be honest.
I thought he did. I mean, honestly, I thought he did decent, but like you said, he could have done way better. I was thinking he was going to stop him, but knowing Joey, he's a very, sturdy, big heavyweight. I think Stefan just didn't let his hands go enough because, he was just too afraid of, what was coming back to him, right?
What do you think Big Baby does with Joey?
I think he would sleep him.
Case closed. That's in shape, out of shape, whatever shape. Case closed. And Big Baby needs work. He needs to be taking rounds because he gets rid of people early, and we need to see what he can do and how he'll perform late in fights, because when fatigue begins to set in, your mind wanders a little bit, you might lose focus. We need to see him under those type of circumstances to let us know how much of a complete fighter he can be or is. and that's not wanting to see him beaten or anything. That's just wanting to see him challenged a bit and taken into unfamiliar waters, because I don't think he's ever went the distance, and we need to see that, because that adds more to his experience. If you go through life knocking everybody out and then you finally get in there with somebody that you ain't gonna knock out, and it happens to be a tough fight too, it can turn on you. That's what happened with John the Beast Mugabe when he fought Marvin Hagler. He had been knocking everybody out. Everybody. 23, 24 fights, 23, 24 knockouts. You get in there with Hagler, it's the toughest fight of your life. You hit him with your best stuff. He hit Hagler with an uppercut that if the neck and the head wasn't attached, Hagler's head would have went into the lights over the ring. He hit him with an uppercut just that devastating, and Hagler came back with a 3 or 4 punch combination on his ass. And I know the Beast had to be thinking like, what the hell? What is this guy made out of? And then a few fights later, he's getting knocked out in 1 round by Terry Norris. Yeah. It happens because you know why? There's always somebody tougher. There's always somebody better. There's always somebody hit harder, smarter. You understand? So you have to have more at the championship level. You want to be a champion of goldfish, or you want to be champions of the killer whales? Something to think about.
Yeah, I don't disagree. I just think like how the performance was, it could have been a lot better. And I'm pretty sure he knew it himself. And he definitely needs to, go back to the drawing board and definitely work on the things that, he should have done better.
Yeah. 704 is out there talking about pick up the phone, but when nobody was calling, he wasn't calling. He always try to call when somebody on the line. I noticed that about him. So 704 Joe, F+ for you, Because how long was I sitting up here asking somebody to call in before we got, this is just our second call here with K-Rod on the line, and K-Rod will call in every week. But where are you, 704 Joe, when these guys are not calling in? I was sitting up here for 10 minutes at a time, just, hey, somebody call. And you out there writing in the chat with all these symbols and, these emojis and stuff instead of dialing the number. F+. What else you got, K-Rod?
I also wanted to ask you about the other fights that were on the card. The Bruce Carrington fight and the Delonte Tiger Johnson and that female fight on the card too.
I watched the female fight. I did not score it, but I did watch it. It was entertaining, but that Pink Tyson, she was in over her head, Some fighters feel they got to have a gimmick. And, that's okay, but you better believe when you get in there, you better have the ability to fight, and not just fight, have the ability to protect yourself, because that's important. You can't leave that off the table, how to protect yourself. I remember I was working with a young guy in the gym. I've spoken to him before, Paul, and I had to show Paul how to defend himself in there, because at the time, my explanation was anybody can ball their fists up and throw punches. Everybody doesn't know how to punch, when and where to punch, and how, when, things like that. But I said one of the other factors is defending yourself from punches, getting out of the way, being able to move the proper way, to block, parry, slip, slide, bob, weave. Get yourself in a position to where even if you're in close proximity to someone, you're not worried about what they can do to you because you know what to do to take care of you. But you put them in a position to worry about what you're going to do to them because you are in a confident place in defending. And so now you begin to, work on taking them apart and everything because you've gotten close to them. Because remember, you can't do nothing to me if you ain't close to me, right? I can't do nothing to you if I'm not close to you. I have to be within range to be effective. Now, what's proper range? There have been professional fighters that have knocked guys out with a 6-inch punch. So if I can get leverage on a 6-inch punch and hit you in the right place, I can have winning results. So let's figure 6 inches from where I start to where I end. That's how close I need to be to you. Remember, we call it the sweet science for a reason. There are guys who will get within 6 inches and they smother their work, or they cover up and don't put themselves in position to do anything offensively because they're worried about the incoming. But you have to understand that the worrying or taking note of the incoming only attaches itself to the outgoing or the output when you know what you're doing. See, you can talk as bad as you want to talk standing over there. You can even talk as much as you want to talk getting closer. But when you get close enough to touch me, that's when you need to be aware of like what can happen to you, what bones can be broken, what limbs can be separated or dislocated, what jewels can be damaged, eyes can be lost. Yeah, when you're getting within a certain range. See, fighting is fighting. I ain't worried about because somebody hit hard. You might hit hard, but I might hit more. Frequent. Often. And in different places. Hit you so many times you don't know what to hold first. Your eye, your nose, your mouth, your ass, your nuts. You don't know. You thinking about loading up, hitting me on my head or in my jaw. Maybe. The Brady fight. I watched that one. I think I scored it. Let me double check my scorecard sheet here because there was some fights. I realized how many fights that Top Rank was having, and I was like, forget it, man. It's just too much. Yeah. That fight, it was okay. I had a problem with that Benjamin fight that was in, I think that was the first fight on the card.
Yeah, first fight.
Dude, I mean, come on. And even in Shaw's fight, dude, they stopped that fight and give him a TKO. He didn't earn the TKO. Joey deserved to see the final bell of that fight. They were just going to maul each other and everything to the end of the fight anyway. And the ref steps in and breaks them and waves it off. Come on. That's like the third time we've seen that in the past few months. Don't you remember seeing that on another ESPN card recently?
Yeah. Yes.
Giving guys a TKO victory that they didn't earn. It's just so the guy can have another KO on his record. Because, you know, TKO, little time pass, few weeks, a few months pass, they'll just consider it a knockout, right? But it's not a knockout. And that's padding the stats for certain fighters on ESPN and Top Rank. And it stinks. I don't like that.
I was also going to say, I saw a video that was floating around the internet of this, like, one boxer that got a TKO victory over another boxer that didn't get hit. He was, like, leaning on the ropes, and he was, like, basically, like, you know, bobbing and weaving, you know, leaning on the ropes, not getting hit. And the referee just came out of nowhere and just ruled it as, like, a TKO victory, knowing that the other fighter didn't even hit him. So...
yeah, that's starting to happen a lot, and I would like to see the viewers of boxing start complaining about that too, because that's corruption. You know, giving a guy a TKO stoppage. If they're gonna do that, they can do it in the first round, can't they? You go out there, you hit the guy a couple of shots, y'all start, you know, clinching, and the ref steps in and waves it off. Now, if it happens in the first round, it will piss you off, right? You'll be like, hey, wait a minute. It's not a knockout. Nobody threw a towel in or nothing. The ref just stepped in and stopped it. Well, if he does it in the 8th round, it's the same damn thing. You don't let this guy get hit and take punishment and stuff all these rounds only to take the opportunity, because there is victory in a person going the distance. Even if they lose the decision, there's victory in a fighter who has come to perform, getting to see the final bell. And to have a referee just take that away from you, that's corruption.
I was also going to say, that other fight that you mentioned on a Top Rank card, were you possibly talking about the Abraham Nova and William Encarnacion fight?
When did that take place? Because all these fights started to run together after a little bit.
That happened on January 15th at the Turning Stone Casino.
Okay. And who did you say it was again?
Abraham Nova versus William Encarnacion.
Yeah, was that the fight? It was stopped in the 7th round?
I believe.
Oh, 8th round.
8th round or
8th round, yeah.
8th round, 9th round.
Yeah, see, I got the scorecard right here. It's just under my other sheet because it was so recently. Yeah, it was the 9th round that they stopped it. And it was going to go to 10. It was a scheduled 10-rounder. Yeah, exactly, yep. K-Rod. That's what I'm talking about. When you see that kind of stuff happening, dude, it is not fair. It is not what people sign up for. Think about it. Even if you're the opponent on that night, if you came and gave a good account of yourself and the referee stops it the round before the final round just because you got hit a good shot, you know, but you're in the fight, dude, that's heartbreak. It does something to you. It's debilitating. It does something to you as a fighter when they do that to you. Because fighters take pride in going the distance. Wasn't the film Rocky about that? Going the distance with the champ? So why would you take that away from someone if they've come prepared to perform? Last night, we saw, what was that? Xavier Madrid against Tiger Johnson. And Madrid gave a good account of himself, a very good account. Now, Tiger is, you know, he looks like he might be a blue chipper. Let's see a little bit more of him. I know that was only his second fight, but he looked very nice. You want to see him again. But Madrid didn't come as the regular opponent to lay down. He performed. And could you imagine the ref just stepping in and stopping that fight before the 8th round? I mean, not the 8th round, before the 4th round, to not allow him to finish the fight when he gave such a good, he took great shots. That eye that he ended the fight with came from getting punched. But he fought on. He didn't lay down. And he earned the right to have another payday with the top-ranked card. But imagine the ref just stepping in and stopping it on him. It's like, what? Just to give Tiger a TKO victory that somewhere down the line it's not even going to matter? He just had a victory. And that's what, I'm seeing it so much in the sport. It's like, that should be where the outcry is. That should be where people feel like, you know what? You can see where they just pick and choose whatever they want to do. Now, Tyson Fury against Otto Wallin. If Otto Wallin's eye is bleeding like Fury's eye was bleeding, they stop the fight. And Otto Wallin lose. But because it was Tyson Fury, someone that Bob Arum invested some money in, they let the guy leak all over the ring. There was blood on himself, on the opponent, on the canvas, on the ref. It was blood on my TV screen. Fury was bleeding so bad. And they didn't stop the fight. The consistency in the sport is what's important. And that's what people should hang their hat on. Not on these individual fighters. Fuck them. Some of them won't even be around within a couple of years. And you guys are loving them and chewing on their dirty underwear. I don't like that. Stand up for the sport, man. Demand more of the sport. Referees imposing themselves. You have to question it. You have to think about the corruption. You have to think about, did somebody get to that ref and give him an envelope either before or after the fight? Doing this stuff. I mean, I think 4 times last year that I saw a ref stop a fight when the fighter was good to go. The fight was still happening, and it's like the ref out of nowhere just says, oh, that's it. That's too much for this guy. It's like, what are you talking about? The dude is standing there. He's ready to throw punches, and you're stepping in and you're stopping the damn fight. Nah. But Tiger Johnson looks like a young man that you would like to see again, and I do want to see more of him. Go ahead, K-Rod. I'm sorry.
Yeah, one more final thing that I was going to ask before I get up out of here is, do you think boxing, should have like a universal rule to like stoppages and knockouts that, like let's just say if you are getting beat up, there should be like I guess like a policy put in place to, have like a certain amount of punches hit on a opponent, before they get ruled out to be knocked out or TKO'd?
Well, I'll tell you this. Having rules and policies in place is a nice thought, but people don't follow rules and policy in boxing. You got trainers who will continue to send their charges out for another round of bludgeoning and punishment when they know damn well they should be stopping the fight. So if the trainer doesn't have the discipline and the resolve to take matters into their hands to save a guy, why would an official, only to serve the purpose of the favorite house fighter or whatever having the advantages? That's all. People, I've watched guys getting their butts beaten and their trainers like, come on, you give me one more round. I'm like, dude, this young man has a family to go home to, and it ain't you. Huh? And we're not talking about the Deontay Wilder situation with Tyson Fury where he was like, I didn't want them to stop the fight, this and that. We're not talking about that. We're talking about boxers who have no shot. Just a couple months ago, we watched Artur Beterbiev beat the crap out of Marcus Brown. Now, Artur had a deep cut in the middle of his forehead, just like Badu Jack did from fighting this same man. You cannot convince me that that's not an intentional headbutt that he does. But anyway, when Beterbiev turned the heat up on Brown, and Brown realized he was in over his head, he looked for an out. And Derek James, Mr. IDGF, that's not his fighter. He went to be trained by Derek James. But where was the compassion in Mr. James to say, hey, this kid is really getting his butt handed to him? And let's not forget the fact that Artur Beterbiev is a murderous puncher. We're not talking about a KO puncher like Deontay Wilder. Bang! Not hit you and you're out cold. Because that's a knockout puncher. But Mr. Beterbiev punches like it's a different type of damaging, bludgeoning punch. It's kind of like what George Foreman used to do to people when he was a young man. He can really bust you up. And you don't, the corner don't save you from that. There comes a time when somebody should be able to recognize when you're in over your head. Who allows their child to walk out, just learn to walk, just walk out and go near a flight of stairs? Some of these trainers are that person. Well, maybe he'll make it down the stairs. Man, if you don't get the hell out of here. So when you talk about having some type of rule or policy in place, it sounds good in theory, but you have very few people who will exercise the options of implementing them. You know, it's a shame because when a person be getting getting beaten up like that, and I saw, well, what fight was that? Was it last week's card? When the guy was getting beaten up so bad, he went back to the corner and the doctor came over and said, no, we got to stop this. He can't even follow my fingers or my instructions. But the corner was prepared to send him out for another round. I'm no doctor, but I can tell if you ain't got nothing left. That's my job to know that. It's crazy, man, but it is what it is. You know, it is what it is. They won't be happy until something really tragic happens, and then they may start thinking about the welfare. But that also may mean that it'll be too late, for somebody. But those are, my thoughts on that, K-Rod.
Yeah, I agree with you. I just figured I asked that, but anyways, I appreciate the call, and I'll definitely talk with you next time.
All right, man. Appreciate you calling, man. Have a good day.
Yeah. Thank you.
All right. Peace.
Yep. Bye.
Salute to Lala D. I see you out there. Tay Boxing. Tay MMA Combat Entertainment. I see you guys out there. Yeah, Lala D, that was the Matias fight. Yeah. That was that fight. He, the guy was being beaten up, and it's like he wasn't responsive, but the corner was prepared to send him out for another round. It's like, really? I'm like, man, if I'm fighting and getting beat like that and I don't even know my ass from a hole in the ground, when I go back to the bench, I don't want you guys sending me back out. I want to, be taken care of. Okay, we got 214 in the building. Who's calling? What's on your mind?
704 Joe.
Oh, there he is.
Home of the welterweight champion of the world, Earl Spence. Sensei.
Yes, sir.
You're not going to send me to the back of the class, man.
Man, you sitting up there talking about and pick up the phone, and when the lines was clear, you wasn't even calling in. Don't you start, because I'm going to finish. You understand?
Sensei.
You come in here talking about,
Sensei.
Hey.
I'll call. Sensei, I call. I'm going to tell the truth. I call when you're drowning. You say somebody called once. You say somebody called twice. On that third time, that's when I call. Now, I call when I want to call, and I'll call if you're drowning. Somebody had just beat me to it, and I didn't know it. Sensei, don't do that. I'm going to get the habit.
Man,
listen, I'm going to get the habit. Don't do that.
I keep the nunchucks right beside me, to bop somebody upside the head that don't know how to behave. So I'll let you make the determination from there.
Sensei, I get on that plane in Chicago and give you my Buddha fish. I'll give you my black Buddha fish. I'll give it to you. I'll give it to you, man.
And I'll give you the berry fist. You'll be buried under all of that conversation you had. Is because you know what? At this age, you see this gray right here? That I'm growing out my long Fu Manchu beard on purpose. Huh? Yeah. Wait till the eyebrows turn white. Wait till the eyebrows turn white.
I'm going to come to Chicago and cut it off. How about that?
No, it took too long to grow it out, so no, you can't cut it off.
Man, I love the show. I want to talk about this Cambosa situation.
Yes, sir.
I pretty much know he knows he can't beat Haney. He knows it. So what is he going to do? He's going to do the Thurman thing. He's going to do the Ryan Garcia thing. He's going to hold that belt as long as he can. But he's going to do a give me a home welcome fight in Australia, which he should have that fight. Mm-hmm. But he's not going to have a fight. He's going to have an exhibition, an easy fight. And then he might fight somebody. When he first won, I'm like, the man's going to go home and get a fight. He's going to go home, celebrate with his country, with his fellow countrymen, and have an easy fight, then a fight. That's how I think it's going to go. But I think he's going to hold on to it as long as he can. As long as he can.
But elaborate on that for me. Elaborate on that, what you're saying.
I'm saying he's going to go and fight in down under Australia, like a lot of people do. He knows he's not going to hold that belt. He knows he cannot beat Haney. He knows it. He's going to get an easy fight. I don't even call it a fight. I'll call it an exhibition. And then maybe he'll fight Haney then. Maybe. But he's not going to fight until he has to. He's going to hold it as long as he can. That's how I see it. Sensei.
Yeah.
Sensei.
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay. How do you see it?
Well, I see it a little bit different, but I understand what you're saying. Now, this is the thing. As far as him knowing that he can't beat Devin Haney, a lot of them can't beat Devin Haney, a lot of them. But there is a concerted effort for fighters like Haney, Shakur Stevenson, Demetrius Andrade, fighters who have the ability to box, have great athleticism. Some of them have good power, but ring and boxing IQ, that they make the non-black fighter look inferior. They're trying to put a freeze on that. They are tired of the black fighter being out front and dominating. And they're trying to squeeze these fighters out of being at the top of the sport, being the man, so to speak. Now, one of the ways you can be the man is by becoming undisputed. Another way that you can become the man is by knocking off the fighters that they hold in high esteem and regard. And in both places, they are cutting the avenue down so the black fighter don't have the opportunity. A few years ago, Devin Haney was going to fight a certain fighter for that number one contender title eliminator for the WBC, while Vasily Lomachenko was the champ, right? And what they did was they let Vasily fight the guy. That took Devin out of contention. Then when it was like, okay, now, well, Vasily has to fight Devin. That's when Vasily went to try to make that petition to get the, what do they call that? Franchise title or whatever. And they allowed him that kind of consideration. And then they just said, well, we'll make Devin the regular champ or whatever. It's like, you're going to make a guy a champion without him fighting for the championship because you don't want the guy who has the championship to lose to him. When did boxing turn into that? And then you go around and you berate this fighter and you talk about him and you call him, oh, he's the email champion, and you say such foolishness like that, but you made him that. And then you say, well, he ain't fought nobody, but you took the guy he was supposed to fight away from him. So everything that you're doing is backhanded, but done by the means of and at the expense of the fighter who's trying to prove himself. And in today's twisted order of business, people look at that and say things like, well, that's why he got to fight somebody or whatever. Dude, this can go around and around. It's like an animal chasing its own tail.
Yeah, he can play games for about a year and a half, even 2 years if he wants to.
Yeah, and the thing about it is, remember, that ceases the legacy of a fighter. It ceases his legacy because what happens is you're on an upward trajectory, right? There at some point in any quality fighter's career, there comes a point of a fight that makes or breaks him. You're taking that off of the table. You're taking that off the table because now a person can become a champion, even an undisputed Canelo Alvarez, without laying it on the line against the fighters that can prove whether they are really who you're promoting them and saying and telling us that they are or not. You take that off the table. Huh? If Ali never fought Frazier, If Ali never fought Foreman, huh? If Ray Leonard never fought Tommy Hearns, if he never fought Hagler, if he never fought Duran, look at all these fights I'm taking off of the table. And look at all the differences that it makes for a fighter's career.
Serious. The best will not fight the best.
Yeah.
He on the wrong side of the street. My promoter said this: "You priced yourself out." I hate when they say you priced yourself out. He's on the other side of the street. Man, it's just a business. It's just a business. It's just a business. Let me get $3-4 million and get out the game. That's it. Nobody wants to fight the best. Nobody wants to lose. It's okay to lose, man. God damn. It's okay to lose. I said it 100 times. You said it's okay to lose. What do you do after you lose?
But see, get
your ass up.
It gets even deeper than that, 704 Joe. Check this out. The defeatist mentality where you don't even want to fucking try. That's unacceptable. To hell with worrying about losing. You don't want to try? Get the hell out of my sport.
Right.
If you don't want to try, huh? Because that, at the end of the day, is what it's all about. Giving it a go. If you don't want to give it a go, get the hell out of the sport.
Stormy, do you do the Golden Gloves in Chicago? You still doing? I know you probably did them at one time. You still doing?
I don't go all the time because it's like a lot of my love for it here locally is not what it used to be. But I have.
I was getting to that point.
I have, yeah.
I remember years ago, maybe 20 years ago, it used to be maybe 6 rings in a big auditorium, man.
Yep.
6 rings.
Yeah.
Next 3 or 4 years, 5 rings. Next 3 or 4 years, 4 rings. We down to 1 ring now.
1 ring, yep.
Down to 1 ring.
Listen, I can tell you, I remember when we had it had to be 89, I think it was, because Oscar De La Hoya came to Chicago. And I remember hearing about him because, you know, he was in, what was that, the 92,
94?
Yeah, 92 Olympics, yeah. And, no, so it was 90. I thought I said 89. I thought it might have been 90. Oscar De La Hoya came to Chicago, and I was at that Golden Gloves tournament when he was here, and they were talking about him, and they was like, this kid is going to be something, you know, and blah, blah, blah. And I remember seeing him, big left hand, you know, that's what he had back then. And that was when it was last really on fire here, you know. Mm-hmm. And the Olympics came around, and there was this big story behind him because his mom had passed and all of that. But I remember having saw him when he came through Chicago, and it was like, wow, you know, I saw this guy when he was a kid, you know. And I don't talk about that very often, but I remember that. But I also remember what it meant when guys would go out and study their craft and participate in these tournaments and things like that. It's just not the same anymore.
Yeah.
And I don't take to doing it just to go through the motions. I don't do that. So that's why I've been away from it for so long.
I'm still supporting the Golden Gloves. Last couple of years, COVID, you know, they're bringing it back this year.
Yeah.
They're going to bring it back this year. But the numbers, the trainers, the boxers, it's a small number, man. It's a small number. And what's so sad about boxing today is We only have a handful of good boxers, man, and they won't fight each other. Just fight each other. I got to tell you what, they could get close to the history of 20 years ago if they all just fought each other. If Haney fought Tank, if Tank fought Shakur, if Crawford fought Spence, if Andrade would fight Charlo, damn, that would be a good history. Am I right or wrong?
Yeah.
If they fought each other. We would be talking about them 20 years later, not as much as a Lennon and Sugar Ray Leonard situation, but it would be a good history. That's what I'm trying to say. It would be history.
And look at
20
this.
years from now, we're not going to be talking about that because they never fought each other. And I don't want to see them when they're 40 years old. I don't want to see that Pacquiao Mayweather thing. No.
Look at this.
Past 22, I'm not watching it. If that Crawford Spence go past 22, I'm not paying for it. I'm not watching it.
And look at this. I will go back 4 years, okay, and say this. Canelo Alvarez. You could take 3 fights, including the Caleb Plant fight. Take 3 fights off of his resume and substitute them with these 3 fighters. And I give him all the respect in the world, win, lose, or draw. The 3 fighters would be Demetrius Andrade,
Yes, sir.
Jamal Charlo,
Yes, sir.
and David Benavidez.
Yes, sir. That's it.
Listen,
That's it.
take 3 fights off of his resume over this past 4 years, including the Caleb Plant fight, and substitute those 3 fighters. I will give him all the credit in the world, even though he popped dirty with clenbuterol. I would still give him all the credit in the world because you know why? He beat the best that were his contemporaries, or at least he fought them.
Yeah.
Win, lose, or draw, because that's what I said, win, lose, or draw. If he does that, I have to take my hat off and give respect. But he purposely avoided those guys. Purposely. Now, if you go back a couple of more years, there are 2 fighters that he fought that weren't the same by the time they got in the ring with him. One of them is Danny Jacobs.
Right.
The other is Triple G.
Yes, sir.
So you're
Yes, sir.
furthering, tarnishing your legacy that your fan base and the media want me to kowtow and acknowledge. When he was supposed to fight Triple G, he didn't. By the time he and Triple G finally got in the ring with each other, that fight was like 3 years past. Because don't forget, he was weight bullying a lot of people at that 155 crap.
Yeah.
He weight bullied Miguel Cotto. You see? And people don't remember these things. But dude, I've been here. And it's like, I've seen this. Even on the night that he fought Adriel Yildirim, he should have been fighting Darrell. Because Darrell lost the title to Benavidez on the cut, remember? And then when Darrell came back, he and Canelo were fighting on the same night. And Canelo was fighting Yildirim for the belt that Darrell should have been fighting for. So he really should have been fighting Darrell. And they were fighting on the same night. So their timetable even lined up for one another. So even if he had fought Darrell instead of fighting Yildirim, I give him respect. Because who in the fuck is Yildirim compared to Darrell? Seriously. They've allowed this guy to navigate the sport and do exactly, let me put it in real simple layman's terms. They've allowed Canelo to do exactly whatever, right? And look at how they've prevented Devin Haney from doing exactly what he was supposed to do. How about that? Those are the yin and yang, the mirror opposites of how they'll let one do everything and how they'll let the other do nothing.
You know what's crazy?
This is corruption in the sport, brother.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
It's crazy because the 3 fighters you named, I have Canelo beating all 3 of them.
Quite possibly.
Yeah, I got him beaten. But don't fight him. I got you beating him.
But if you don't fight them, I can't give you the credit.
Right.
I cannot give you the credit if you don't fight them. They were there. Okay, when you go back, your time is done, and people open the book and they see these fighters and they like, but you never fought. Why is that? Why is that? How does Mike Tyson, check this out, because you know you got Mike Tyson lovers everywhere.
Oh yeah.
How does Mike Tyson come out on top of everybody's list and everything, one of all-time greats and all of this, and he never fought Bo, Mercer, Morrison, huh? He never fought these guys that were like the same people, George Foreman, huh? When you seen other people line up and get in there with them. You know, Evander Holyfield fought everybody.
Yeah.
And Lennox Lewis, the only reason he didn't fight Bo is because Bo threw his belt in the garbage. And that was one of the biggest misses in history, because if those two would have fought, the winner of that fight would have been the heavyweight of their era, because they both beat Holyfield. But the thing is, it's like they didn't face each other. And these young men today need to learn from history. This is why you study history, so you don't be doomed to repeat it. I can't give you that same type of credit, Mike Tyson, because there were fighters that you could have fought that you didn't fight. You came back fighting Peter McNeely and Buster Mathis Jr. Get the hell out of here.
Yeah.
Where was Ray Mercer at? I'm sure Ray Mercer would have welcomed a fight with Mike Tyson.
Well, with Tyson, it became a popularity thing. You know that. You know that.
No, listen, man. No, see.
I'm not giving him an excuse. I'm not saying he shouldn't have fought him. I'm telling you what it is.
No, what I'm saying is this. Remember, even the boxing public, boxing fans, they were different at that time. They didn't really care about popularity and stuff like that. They wanted to see the fights. But while it was happening, they were always sitting on the cusp of hoping that something was going to come. It never came. The only reason he fought Evander Holyfield was because they thought he was washed up. He didn't fight Michael Moorer, huh?
Right.
There were a lot of fights he could have had. I told you, Evander fought everybody. Everybody. And he was the smallest out of all of them.
Yep. Cruiserweight.
Isn't that amazing? It's like when you really put your head to it and you say, oh, but it's like people don't really pay attention, bro. Revisionist history for Canelo will be he was the best of his era, but there were at least 6 or 7 guys that he could have fought that he didn't. That's too many. Yeah. There were a couple of guys that Evander didn't fight. Like I remember he didn't fight Tommy Morrison. He didn't fight Razor Ruddock. You know what I mean? It's like, but will I hold that against him? Fuck no. Because he fought everybody else. He fought the daddy and the granddaddy of those dudes. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And his first heavyweight title defense was against Big George Foreman. And people was, do you realize going back to that fight, people were trying to call that a cherry pick. Ask Michael Moore if that was a cherry pick.
Sensei, I got a sidebar real quick because I know other people on the call. Who did you have, Bo or Lennox Lewis in that fight, if they would have fought?
Man, you know what? even today, I kind of flip-flop back and forth, because if you're talking about during that time when they were originally supposed to fight after Bo defeated Holyfield, Lennox wasn't with Emmanuel Stewart then. So Emmanuel Stewart made Lennox a more polished, finished product. Bo might have had a chance because he had Eddie Futch. But it wouldn't have been easy either way. You know what I'm saying? So, but it was, damn, that was a fight I wanted to see. Because I don't think it would have been anything like their Olympic fight.
Okay, take care of some more calls, man. I want everybody to get in, share the wisdom, man.
Yes, sir. Appreciate you calling, man. Thank you. All right. Peace. Great call, 704 Joe, man. Appreciate that. Big Texas, ATX, I see you out there. Lala D says, Stormy Boots wants to be undisputed in 4 divisions. 4. Poor Boots. He doesn't know yet that they will never let that happen. They got his flow chart already made out. Yeah, you might be right, Lala D. Salute to Pac-Man Tay out there. Appreciate you, man. Okay, we got 410 in the building. Salute to you. Who's calling? Welcome to the show.
What's up, Stormy B? This is Tom, man. How you doing, bro?
Good, man. How you doing?
I'm about watching. I love your show, man. I said, let me call him today, man. Let me call him today.
Thank you.
Yeah. I want to talk about Manny Pacquiao. I don't want to get off the subject, right? Mm-hmm. Me and my cousin had a discussion about Manny Pacquiao. Like Pacquiao at 147, how he's trained a lot of fighters too. How he trained Cotto, Oscar De La Hoya, a lot of them guys. How you feel about Manny Pacquiao as a welterweight?
Well, he did take advantage of a lot of those fighters like that. And I'm not an advocate of these men, fighting and bouncing around all these weight classes. You see, the reason that you can respect a Marvin Hagler or even a Bernard Hopkins, that's because they reigned at their respective divisions.
Right.
Not bouncing back and forth, going up to 154, going up to 160, 168. They were who they were. They were middleweights, and they took on all comers. And when they became undisputed, they fought a virtual who's who that campaigned at those divisions.
Right.
Fighters who drain themselves down to smaller weights to have an opportunity to win more titles. You have to understand, you're already starting out with a mindset of trying to cheat the game.
Mm-hmm.
You see, and I'm not an advocate of that.
Right.
Pacquiao moving up from such low weight classes where he was and beating bigger men, you still have to question, how does that happen?
Right. I was saying the same thing. Same thing. Like,
he was fighting smaller men and wasn't blowing them out like that down there.
Exactly.
And then all of a sudden you can knock out a 147 or 154 pound man.
Right, exactly. I have a bunch of Filipinos that work on the job with me, and we go at it every day about Pacquiao. I'm like, he had to be on steroids to beat them bigger guys like that. He couldn't beat Pereira like that, conventional like that. So how you move up the weight and beat Ricky Hatton and all them guys, knocking them guys all like that?
Yeah.
So I said the same thing about him. I'm like, come on, man. I like him. I'm not saying he's not a good fighter, but I think Pacquiao's hype job at 147, it was too much credit for him. That's how I feel about Manny Pacquiao.
Yeah. He was a person that I don't know what they were doing with him. That'll probably remain behind the scenes for as long as the foreseeable future. But they were doing something. They found something, and they stayed with it until Floyd questioned and said, okay, I'll fight you, but we got to have Olympic style testing. And then that halted that. So whatever Olympic style testing would have shown, they made certain that they left it alone and got it out of the system and everything, and then went ahead and ended up facing Floyd. But one thing you notice is that those knockouts stopped.
Right, and when he faced Floyd, he looked the same.
Right.
He looked the same. Then when he fought Keith Thurman, it's like the old Pacquiao came back. It wasn't, that fight wasn't drug tested, was it?
I don't think it was.
Oh, cool. They say a lot then. They say a lot. That's why he like the old Pacquiao then.
But look at when he got in there with Usyk, huh?
Right.
He wasn't hurting Usyk, was he? He wasn't pounding Usyk all over the place. In fact, he gave the excuse that his legs didn't feel right and his eyes were swollen shut and everything because he was in there, and everything that happened to his ass was supposed to happen to him because that's what happens when a big man beat up on a little man.
Exactly. And one more fight I looked at when he fought Joshua Clottey. Clottey was beating him with a jab, but Clottey wasn't throwing a punch. You think that fight was a setup fight or as a gimme fight, or they told Clottey not to throw a lot of punches, or what? Because every time I look at that fight, every time I look at that fight, I'm like, Clottey could have beat him with 1-2 all night.
It could have been a setup, huh?
Right.
You look at Lomachenko, and when he fought my man, what's my man who quit against him? Then they start calling him Nomaschenko. What's the young Jamaican brother that lost to him? That beat.
I forgot his name. That fast. Yeah. I forgot his name. That fast. Yeah.
But look at him. He ain't even fought no more. He didn't even fight again after losing to Lomachenko.
Oh, he didn't. No, you're right.
He ain't fought no more.
Right.
That dude took that bag and went on over to Jamaica and probably opened up a weed store or something. It's like he ain't fought since.
Right, you're right. Though.
Nicholas Walters, there you go.
Yeah, Nicholas Walters. There you go. Yeah, yep.
So he ain't even fought again. So there are guys out here who will be on the take for them. Yeah, absolutely.
Right. Because I love boxing. I'm like, this setup is crazy. Because I like Pacquiao, but I'm like, I can't give him that much credit. Because he drained a lot of guys, man, at 147. So that's why I can't really get the credit that he deserves. So,
do you think that Canelo may be enjoying some of what?
Oh, I said about Canelo. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Come on, Canelo a hype job too to me. I know.
No, but I'm talking about the implication is that Manny had help. Now, do you think that Canelo has help? Hell yeah, I think he has help.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
He's not a big man. Listen, Canelo, dude, he's a little guy.
Yeah, he like 5. They say 5'8", but he like 5'7.5", or barely 5'7". He's not that tall either, so he's not a real big guy, not at all.
No,
not a big guy.
He out here knocking folks out and stuff like that. It's like
exactly.
Come on, man. I you can't fool me with that. I've seen good boxing, okay, in my life.
Right.
Real fighters. And these guys of today, what's worse about it is a lot of them who get to the championship level where they get these titles, because I do believe there's a difference between a titleist and a champion, but a lot of them don't even put in the work, bro, to be
right. You're right.
To measure with the success that they may garner. It's like it don't go hand in hand. Listen, the Charlo brothers, they're good fighters, but they plateaued. They plateaued.
I think so too. Right? They can't. You're right. And I think Canelo gonna beat Charlo.
Yeah. You know why?
Yeah.
Because of that Montiel fight revealed all he needed to know about Charlo. See,
that's why. Yeah,
put it like this.
Right, you're right.
Put it like this. When Canelo fought Yildirim didn't belong in the ring with him, right? It's like you saw what he did. He got him out of there in 2 or 3 rounds. Even though Yildirim didn't throw any punches, it was almost like he was paid off too. But anyway, when Charlo fought Montiel, it wasn't his best night, but he made himself look really bad against Montiel. And that shows that something's wrong. Something's missing. Something isn't clicking with Charlo, with Maul. So Canelo looks for those type of weaknesses in individuals. So he knows that, okay, I can get this guy because there's something, he's a rung short of where he needs to be or whatever, and that's just enough for me to slip in there and handle that business. But see, the one fighter that he can't gauge that with is Demetrius Andrade. Because Andrade has levels. And that means that he can fight different ways. He can make adjustments. And see, that's the X factor that makes Canelo say, no, you're a horrible fighter. I would never fight you. You fight nobody. That's because he can't figure Andrade. Andre's last fight against Quigley, he took Quigley out. And the funny thing about it is Quigley's not a bum, but he is like he's like a good, tough fighter, right? Andre never let that guy get warmed up. He went out there and took that dude out. That guy is not a soft touch, but he went out there and took his ass out and made it be like, you don't belong in here with me. And see, that's the thing that Canelo is afraid of because he can't gauge off of that. He can't gauge off of that. A guy that just comes, if Demetrius Andrade decide to walk Canelo down and just bang him, he'll bang him out of there. Because he can't match the hand speed. He can't match the southpaw position. He cannot match the lateral movement and angles that Andre can give him. Okay? People don't want to credit Andre the way they should, but those are the kind of things that gives him problems. Andre is a bigger, stronger, younger Lara.
Right. Yeah. You're right, though. You're right. You're totally right.
And did he not have trouble with Lara?
Yeah, he did. He lost that fight, and they gave it to him, so that was obvious.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, I got one more fight. I'm gonna go back. One guy, a hype job to me was, remember the Prince?
Yeah,
he was a hype job to me too. When he fought Kevin Kelly, I think that was a gimme fight. Kevin Kelly could have beat him.
Well, Kevin Kelly got stupid in the fight. He
got stupid, but I'm like.
He tried to, you know, all the talk and all of that got to him. He went in there and just tried to go, you know, blow for blow. But Prince's power was no joke. It was real.
I know he had power, but he was unorthodox and he had a weird style. But he did have power though. I just ain't like that kid. I don't know why I ain't like that kid. He was a hype job to me. I ain't really care for him. That's why. But I like Kevin Kelly. Come on, be smart. I was rooting for Kevin Kelly in that fight. I was rooting for him though.
Yeah. 1 second. I got a super chat from Successful Hustler. He says Pacquiao got KO'd 2 times at 108, then could take punches from 154 pounders. He's like, Canelo never gets hurt and is stronger than guys at bigger weights plus stamina. Absolutely.
Right.
Dude, all of that speaks of tainted. Something is wrong.
Right. Something wrong, right.
Salute to Successful Hustler with that super chat. Appreciate you, bro.
All right, one more time. I got one for the hometown boy, my boy Tank. How you feel about Tank? What's the feature for Tank?
Listen, man, I did a video on Tank Davis after his knockout of Leo Santa Cruz, I think it was. And it might have been after his Barrios knockout, but I did do an exclusive video on Tank, and it was a positive video in favor of Tank and in lieu of how they're handling him and moving him. And what I've stated in that video is I have absolutely no problem with the way Tank's promoter and advisors are moving him, as long as these guys are moving how they're moving these other fighters that won't face the black fighters. I said I have no problem whatsoever with what Tank is doing because they're doing that to us all the time.
Right.
They're moving their best away from our best. They're not giving our best the opportunity at legacy to prove who's best. They're not giving them the economic consideration, and they're not giving them the legacy consideration, because all of those things are connected. And the fact that they do these things and then try to laugh it off is like, well, your guy hasn't fought anybody. Well, your guy hasn't fought
Right.
anybody. So if Tank is
Right,
going
right.
to operate from a minute scale, but become the biggest at that, I have no problem with that. It's wonderful marketing. Some of us need to get a little bit smarter in what we do in that. So just go back and check my video out on it. I did a video. It's about an hour video, and I talked about that, and I give them, you know, their respect for managing a fighter in that manner. Now that won't work for everyone. I will say that.
Right.
But Tank is a little guy who carries a big stick, and he carries a big following. And that is something that will always be popular as a stake in the sport of boxing for whatever reason. And the only thing Floyd needs to do now is to take the training wheels off of Tank a little bit. Because you can do that so long, and then it's no longer profitable. It's no longer exciting. It's no longer interesting, and people will turn their interest somewhere else. It's time for him to step that at another level in a different way, kind of flip the script a little bit, and continue to enjoy that success. And then Tank don't have to fight beyond 30.
Right. So, what kind of fight you see for him next? Like, who next? What be a good fighter for him? A good fight for him?
What was that?
I said, what be a good fight for him next?
A good fight for him next? For Tank?
Yes. Yeah, for Tank, yes.
One of the 135 pounders. One of them. You know what I mean?
One of them, right.
It could be Devin. It could be, you know, but it needs to be one of those guys.
Yeah,
it needs to be one of those guys.
Thing.
1 second. I got a super chat from Lala D, the Queen. She says, salute to Stormy and the callers in the chat. I appreciate that, Queen. Thank you for your super chat, and glad you're out there with us this morning or this afternoon now. But yeah, but that's what I think. And the good thing about Tank is he can still fight 140 pounders too. Right. Yeah, with their power. Yeah, and the skill set. I'll tell you one that I wouldn't be afraid to put him in there with, and that's Regis Prograis. You know, I had a feeling you was about to say his name. Right. You know why? You know why? Why is that? Because Regis is a decent fighter. He really is. Yeah, he good. He pretty good. He good fighter. He good fighter. I don't need you backing me up on that because I'm getting ready to make a point. Okay. He's a decent fighter, but he ain't the smartest or sharpest knife in the drawer. He ain't. Right. Okay. And for a guy who will be available, that's all Tank needs. Is for you to be available. And when I say be available, you got to be there where he can hit you. Right. Regis don't do to people when he hurt them what Tank do to people when Tank hurts them. That's why that's a good fight. Okay. All right, man, bro. Appreciate you taking my call. No problem, man. Just feel free to call again. All right, I will now. You have a good one now. All right, you too. Peace. All right, bye-bye. Right. Oh, yeah. That was a good call. I see you people that love Tank out there making your Lala D says, whoa, Rigorou is tough. He ain't as tough as you might be giving him credit being Lala D. He ain't. He good, but good and tough is two different things. Tank can knock people out. It's what he does. Rigorou's still trying to find himself after Mr. Taylor. And I don't hear him banging no drums for Mr. Taylor either. So, Rigorou, whatever. Time to pack it in for that dude if he don't want to get in there and fight people. But yeah, man, this has been a great call-in show day. It started out kind of bumpy. People didn't want to call in, and then they began to call in. So that's great. Glad you guys started doing that. I'm going to get ready to go have me some lunch. Boxing and Barbecue mentioned chili dogs. Sound pretty good to me. Huh? Get me some chili dogs. And get back out here and get prepared for my work week. But I appreciate everybody that called in, man. Wish I could have got me 100 likes on today's show. But yeah, all those people out there holding their likes in their pocket like it's the last $10 bill or something. But, you know, that's okay. I appreciate everybody who came in and smashed my like button and did it without me pleading for them to do so. Maybe someday, sometime, people will just come on out and show the love and support, you know what I mean, and stop messing around. Because that's what it's all about. Showing that support, being there for one another. You know what I mean? You guys have to be a little bit more on top of that. But overall, it's been a great show. Glad I got a chance to be here with you guys today. And we're going to move forward. Next Sunday, we'll have another call-in show. And hopefully that we'll get more calls. You know what I mean? So, gonna get on up out of here. Peace and love to the mighty LDBC. Everybody that participated, everybody that showed the love, the super chats, I appreciate that. The thumbs ups. And we're gonna have a subscription drive on the Stormybman channel. And you know, look to push the channel forward. But we're gonna get on up out of here. Peace to everybody. All right.